Hello and welcome back once again to another episode of the Wrestling Rant. It's time for SmackDown, finally. This was the June 28th, 2013 episode of SmackDown, and they were in the University of South Carolina. Yeah. So the show opens with they actually do the introduction, or not the introduction, well, I guess it is. The intro video for SmackDown. It's, strange because they hardly ever show this. They don't even really show one for Raw much anymore. They just show the WWE then, now, forever sort of, thing. But anyways, they open with that, and it also seems like it's a new song, but it's not. It's one that they've been playing for a while, but anyways, they just don't play, I don't get to hear the opening part of it, so, I don't know. They open up, and there's a pyro display, which again is something that's kind of strange, because, you know, you don't really see that too often. Anyways... Yeah. But anyways, so the show opens, and immediately they decide to tease the match coming up for later, Randy Orton versus Kane. And since Daniel Bryan beat Randy Orton on Raw earlier this week, the big wonder is if Kane, Bryan's former tag team partner, will be able to beat Randy as well. We don't know, but we're going to find out. So they teased that, and the announcers also make mention of, say, I think it was Cole who goes, "Look up there above the ring," and there's a piñata hanging from above the ring. And that's because Alberto Del Rio is throwing himself a Fiesta Del Rio. And that's another little segment that they're teasing for later on. So they tease that and yada yada. The show finally begins. Sheamus comes out. And then Damien Sandow comes out. And they're going to have a Dublin street fight match. If you're confused on what that is, well, I was frickin' confused when they said it at first too. Apparently, it's essentially the same thing as a regular street fight, only they have these, what are they called? If you've ever worked at a bar or a restaurant where they serve beer, you know, you've probably seen one of these little things. It's like a countertop with the tap for the beer, right? And it has the little lever that you pull to you know, dispense the beer, and underneath it there's like a cupboard where you open up and there's a keg on the inside, of course the keg full of beer. But there's 2 or 3 of these around the ring. And they also end up using kendo sticks that have either been painted or they've had tape wrapped around them. They've been painted green to fit the Irish thing. But yeah. So they're getting ready for this match. And Sandow talks on his way to the ring. He says, can't remember exactly what it was, but he says, you know, when I win this, they'll rename it after me. It'll be the Sandow Street Fight. So, yeah. They start having the match, and this one I actually wound up taking some more detailed notes on, because, I don't know, it just seemed kind of outlandish. I thought, detailed notes was, called for. But, almost immediately, I think Sheamus gets out one of the green kendo sticks, and he's whacking the hell out of Sandow with it. And then they wind up on the outside of the ring, and they go over to one of those little bar kegerator, whatever the hell it is supposed to be things. They go over to one of those, and Sheamus hooks one of Sandow's arms around the tap thing on the top, and he starts doing his clubbing thing like he normally does on the ropes. I don't see how it would work as well on this keg tap thing, because he's only got one arm hooked. But he does the whole thing, and whatever the hell. Sandow comes back a little bit, throws Sheamus into the corner post, and then they work their way onto the opposite side of the ring, and there's another one of those bar tap things, and Sheamus gets thrown into it and knocks it over, because it's just like a stand on wheels. So, whatever the hell. After that, Sheamus is able to recover, and he opens up the cupboard in this thing, sure enough, pulls out the keg, and I think he just basically throws it into Sandow and knocks him over. Oh yeah, then he goes underneath the ring, and if you didn't think this match was Irish enough already, I don't know what it is with the WWE and these stereotypes, but anyways, Sheamus goes under the ring, and he pulls out this burlap sack, and I'm already thinking they're not gonna be this racist. Nope, sure enough, Sheamus goes back over to Sandow, and he smacks him in the gut with this sack, and Sandow crumples in a heap. He's laying on the floor out at ringside, and Sheamus takes the sack, and he turns it upside down and opens it up, and sure enough, a whole bunch of friggin' potatoes come dumping out of this sack. So he hit him with the sack of potatoes. He picks one up, and he takes a big bite out of it, and he chews it up, and then he spits it into Sandow's face. This is just a whole lot of stuff I never thought I would ever say doing commentary on a wrestling match. He hit him with a keg. He smacked him with a sack of potatoes. He spit the potato in his face. What in the hell? And it's not quite over yet, because after that, Sandow comes back, and he throws Sheamus into the stairs, the ring stairs, and then he picks up a bar stool, because of course with these kegerator things they have bar stools in front of them. So Sandow grabs a bar stool and he clocks Sheamus with it. A friggin' bar stool, seriously. They go back in the ring. I think there was actually a commercial break in between there somewhere, but they end up back in the ring. And Sandow gets a couple of chairs, and he wedges one of them in the corner in between the two turnbuckles, right? He gets that set up. And then Sheamus comes back, he clocks Sandow with one of the bar stools. And then he does the Irish Curse backbreaker. And after that, I think he went for a pin, only got a 2. Sandow gets up and backs himself into the corner with the chair. And Sheamus rams him shoulder in the corner, and so that knocks the chair out of the corner. Did that. He gets Sandow up on his shoulders, and he does the rolling senton. Oh no, wait. They wind up on the outside of the ring, and Sheamus gets him up on his shoulders and does the rolling senton on the floor. They go back in the ring. Sheamus goes up to the top and does a big flying shoulder tackle. You know, he does that a bit. Sandow uses one of the chairs. He's smacking whatever with it. Or no, Sandow uses the chair. Okay, so he's got it. And then he takes one of the chairs and he sets it up like he's gonna, like how they normally do, where, you open the chair up. So, it's not completely flat, right? But instead of just sitting it on its legs like you normally would, he sets it so it's really propped up against the top is propped up and the seat is propped up, and so the legs are kind of sticking up and out. And then Sheamus comes running, and he drop toe holds him face first into one of the chair legs, and I think one of the commentators go, "Oh, he got it right in the eye." And so, yeah. So... But yeah, so he's he drop toe holds him face first into the foot of the legs of one of these chairs. And then after that, he hits the terminus, and I'm thinking, okay, well, this has got to be it, right? Because, you know, after eating the chair leg to the eye, and then the frickin', then the terminus, this has got to be it. But no, I can't believe I actually even thought that, because, you know, Sheamus kicked out of the terminus at Payback, the kickoff. So, of course not. He only gets a 2 count. Sheamus gets up and starts using the kendo stick. He grabs one of the chairs and he throws it into Sandow's face. He hits him with the kendo stick some more. Oh, yeah. And then he takes 2 of the chairs, and he sets them up normally, sets them up, opens them up, puts them down like, you know, you sit on it, puts them right next to each other. Oh, yeah, I see what he did here. Okay, he sets the 2 chairs up right next to each other, and then he smacked Sandow upside the head with a kendo stick, and Sandow falls back so he's seated on the chairs. And then Sheamus comes running, brogue kicks him off the chairs, and he pins him and he gets the win, of course, because, you know, Sheamus is never gonna lose. Even though he doesn't need to win, at this point, Sandow really needs a win. And they're just burying Sandow by having him lose repeatedly to Sheamus. Sheamus doesn't need the win anymore. But no, they just keep giving win after win to Sheamus, even though he don't need it. But anyways, so Sheamus wins, whatever. The match was... I'll give it enough credit. The match was alright. It had some back and forth action. And the commentators did say that, you know, Sandow was very game. You know, so I guess they're still trying to put him over. I guess trying to make him look strong even in defeat. Which is still a bunch of crap, because, you know, you could have just had him win. But no, don't bother. But yeah, so, after that, they recap the match between Bryan and Orton from Raw. Yada yada. Kane is backstage. Bryan comes up. They're talking. And whatever the hell. Bryan hugs Kane. Kane gets mad about it. And he kind of scares Bryan off. Whatever. And they say that we're going to have Miz TV up next with guest Paul Heyman. That's going to be up next. So they cut to a commercial. And I don't know if it was during the commercial or as they came back from the commercial, they played a hype video for the Usos. Of course, they won their #1 contendership at the tag titles. So, yada yada. Even though I don't think they really deserve it. They got it, so whatever, I guess. So, yeah. When they come back, they recap the Heyman and Punk segment from Raw, all the talking, and, whatever the hell. And then, of course, they cut into the ring, and Miz is in the ring, and he introduces Heyman, and out he comes, and it's time for the Miz TV thing. And Miz starts trying to ask him about, he says he doesn't believe Heyman, he thinks he's lying, whatever the hell. And he wants to ask Heyman about the whole situation with Brock and Punk and the thing, and Heyman's dodging the question. He doesn't want to talk, so, yeah, so... Yeah, so he introduces Curtis Axel. And of course Curtis comes out with the Intercontinental title, and of course him and The Miz are getting ready to have an Intercontinental title match, I think at the next pay-per-view. Or something, I'm not even really sure. But anyways, Axel comes out and he gets in the ring, and what ends up happening is Miz makes a couple of jokes about Axel. I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah. Star Wars jokes. First of all, he says that Heyman is like Star Wars in that he smells like Chewbacca, looks like Jabba the Hutt, and I don't know, sounded like somebody, I can't remember the rest of it. But then he continued to say that Axel is a lot like Luke Skywalker. And he says, Luke, you're not your father. And of course, seems like Miz agrees with me that, Axel is nothing compared to his father. And that's true, because he's not really. And I don't really see the big deal about him, but whatever. What ends up happening is, I think Heyman interjects and he says that, you know what, he whatever, and he didn't have to make these goofy catchphrases like The Miz with the saying that I'm Curtis Axel and Miz cuts him off and says, going to lose the Intercontinental title to me because I'm The Miz. And Curtis cuts him off, kicks him in the stomach, and then he grabs him and cinches him up for a neck breaker, and then spins him down, plants him on his face. And I'm pretty sure this move was being used by Kurt Hawkins. So, either that or maybe it was Derek Bateman, I'm not sure. But, so, apparently, we can't figure out a damn move for Curtis Axel to use. Because he's used the Perfect Plex, he's used his stupid McGillicudder neckbreaker thingy, and now he's ripping off, I don't know if it was Hawkins or Bateman, but he's ripping off whoever it was that did this. It's not a bad move, but it's like, can we just pick a move for this guy and have him stick with something? I mean, how many wrestlers in the WWE do you really know of that have more than one or two finishers? I mean, even somebody like CM Punk only essentially has one. I mean, yeah, he does the Anaconda Vice on occasion, but nobody ever really taps out to that, except for that schmuck piece of crap, Darren Young on Raw, which I don't even know why that match happened, honestly. But apparently, during the commentary, I believe I heard that Curtis Axel and Punk would be taking on the Primetime Players on Raw this coming Monday. So, anyways, I'm getting way off track. So Axel attacks Miz, and they leave, and that segment's gone. Thank God. They say we're gonna have another 6-man match. The Shield versus the Usos and Christian, and that's going to be later on. So they cut backstage. AJ and Big E are walking through one of the hallways. Apparently they're coming out to the ring. They cut to the commercial. They come back. AJ comes out with Big E, of course. And they recap the whole thing from Raw. AJ dressed up as Caitlyn, making fun of Caitlyn and Big E and all this other stuff. But yeah, they do that, and then, of course, after that, Natalya comes out, and apparently her and AJ are going to have a match. But before the match really starts, AJ's music hits again. And of course, she's like, what the hell? And this is just like Raw. Caitlyn comes out dressed up like AJ. She's wearing a black wig, and she's dressed in AJ's clothes, and all this stuff. And I hate to say it, but all this segment really amounted to was Caitlyn just doing the same thing that AJ did to her on Raw, only not as funny, or not funny at all, really. I guess the main difference is that right, so, this, good God, die already, will you? Good God. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. Right, so like I was saying, all this really amounts to is the same thing AJ did to Caitlyn on Raw, only not as funny, because all Caitlyn really does is make fun of how many boyfriends AJ has had since being in the WWE. She brings up Cena and Punk and Daniel Bryan and Kane, and then she goes on to say, I've even heard rumors that she had some affair or whatever with the timekeeper, and they get a good shot of him, and he's like, no. And then Caitlyn says, and even she's had some special checkups with our ringside doctor, and he's like, no. And then even Lillian, the ring announcer. And I'm like, what in the fuck? Again, not that funny. Whatever the hell. But like I said, it just amounts to a same thing that AJ did on Raw. Not as funny. I don't know. But AJ and Natalya finally start having their match. It's short and it sucks. A little bit of back and forth. AJ starts to get into control, and then Caitlyn comes skipping down the ramp, and she skips around the ring and distracts AJ long enough. Natalya comes from behind, gets a little schoolboy roll-up, gets the pin, and wins the match. Like I said, short, crappy match. After the match, of course, Natalya just decides to piss off because she won. She got her... she's on Caitlyn's side, being a face, so of course, she wants to teach AJ a lesson or something. So... But, yeah, so... Afterwards, AJ's arguing with the referee, and she turns around, and Caitlyn from out of nowhere just spears the fuck out of her. And then she fucks off, and that's the end of that segment. So, again, they start teasing Randy and Kane for later on. They cut to another commercial, and they show another stupid Wyatt family video. Whoop-de-doo. They come back from commercial. Teddy Long is in the office, and he is still the temporary general manager because Booker T is injured, recovering from an injury or something. So Booker T is still out, and so Teddy Long is filling in. And so he's in the ring, he's in the office, and he's on the phone with somebody, and apparently it's supposed to be some big announcement, but he never minds the phone when Vince comes up. And Vince says, Vicky did, she finally announced the Raw participants for the Raw Money in the Bank match at Money in the Bank. And so Teddy needs to do the same thing for SmackDown. And they basically say that what Vicky did was essentially she signed all the all-stars, the big stars from the company, to be in her Money in the Bank match. And what Teddy is going to do is sign some of the future stars, thinking about the future. And so he announces the SmackDown participants for the World Heavyweight Championship Money in the Bank match. And the participants are Wade Barrett, Jack Swagger, Antonio Cesaro, Fandango, Dean Ambrose, Cody Rhodes, and Damian Sandow. So that should be interesting. And McMahon is like, you know what, that's a good idea. I don't think Vicky would have ever thought of that. And I don't know if Booker T would have thought of that either. Yada yada. It seems like what they're teasing is Teddy might end up being the permanent general manager of Raw or SmackDown again sometime soon. I hope so, because I didn't really like Booker T. And I'm really hoping that Brad Maddox replaces Vicky as the actual general manager and not just acting supervisor or managing supervisor of Raw. Because I can't stand Vicky much longer. Anyways, after that segment, Daniel Bryan comes out to be on commentary for the next match, of course being Kane and Orton. But Bryan comes out, and he does his full entrance, which is weird. He's just coming down to do commentary, so I don't know why he needs his full entrance, but whatever. He comes out, and they cut to a commercial. But yeah, so they cut to commercial. And then when we come back, Kane comes out and Randy Orton comes out. And they start having their match. This one I tried to keep the notes a little bit briefer. And really the only notes here, it's Kane and Orton. I'm sure they've wrestled each other before. Basic stuff coming from both of them. Whatever. It goes back and forth for a bit. They cut to another commercial. Randy starts getting the upper hand, or I don't know, I think Kane was getting the upper hand. Either way, Bryan goes off commentary, and he stands up on the announce table, and he starts going, yes, yes, yes. He's trying to cheer on Kane, he's being good friend, and the whole time he's on commentary, he's like, me and Kane are good friends, and I'm trying to help him out and everything, and yada yada, and the commentators are trying to drive a wedge because they're dicks like that. But anyways, after the yesing, I think Randy starts getting the upper hand, and Bryan gets down off the table, and he starts going, no, 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 and he's doing that, and he's getting the crowd to chant it as well and everything, and Randy gets knocked on the outside, but he gets back out after Kane comes back out, throws him back in. As Kane's getting back in, he does the rope hung DDT, and after that, Kane rolls out of the ring. And Bryan goes off headset again, and he says, "Come on, Kane." He goes over and he grabs Kane and he throws him back in the ring. He's trying to make sure he doesn't get counted out, which is weird because the ref was only at like a 3 or 4 count, so it didn't matter. But as Kane gets rolled back in, he looks around at Bryan. He's like, "What the hell?" He turns around and gets RKO'd by Randy. Randy gets the win. So the match was decent, but really stupid finish. And the whole story I guess they were trying to tell here is that after Bryan had cost Kane the match, he wound up leaving, and then as he was leaving, he wasn't really he didn't really seem to be remorseful or sad or anything that he had cost Kane the match. He actually seemed kind of happy. He was kind of smiling. And so the commentators were like, "What's up with that? You know, he doesn't seem, sorrowful or anything like that he cost his buddy the match." And I think it was JBL who said it before the segment finally petered off. He said, "It's looking like Kane's the weaker link now." And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's the whole stupid idea they were trying to push. Whatever. So after that, they again hype up the Fiesta del Rio for later. Then they cut backstage to Ryback, who's walking through one of the hallways, and they cut to commercial. They come back. As they're coming back, they play another hype video, this time for Ryback. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess you're going to need to hype him up because you basically killed him off at Payback. I really don't know how he's going to recover from this. I don't see any way for it to happen. But anyways, we come back from commercial, and Justin Gabriel is in the ring. So obviously he's about to job to somebody, right? Out comes Ryback. No ambulance. He doesn't even get any of his pyro this time. None of it. Not in the ring, not on the stage, none of it. So they start having their match, and this is essentially a squash. But the funny thing is, Gabriel is getting way too much offense in this match. He's kicking the crap out of Ryback, and I mean literally kicking. He kicks the crap out of Ryback's leg, and, they're trying to make a big deal. Oh, he's targeting the leg and all this other stuff. Oh, now what the fuck is this? But anyways... But yeah, so he's... So Gabriel is kicking the crap out of Ryback's leg. Ooh. He's kicking the crap out of Ryback's leg. And what ends up happening is... Great. So anyways, what ends up happening is... Yeah, so like I said, Gabriel's kicking the crap out of Ryback's leg. He clips him from behind. He's whatever the fuck. Ryback ends up in one of the corners. And Gabriel comes running across, goes for a big, splash or a crossbody in the corner. Ryback catches him up onto his shoulders, and he hits the shell shock. And he gets the win. Just like that. So, anyways, Ryback music starts playing, of course, because he won. But then instantly it switches over to Jericho's music, and he comes running out with a mic, and he's like, "Oh my god, I came as soon as I heard the music. Are you okay? Did you hurt your leg?" He's just acting like a huge dick. And he starts talking, he starts making fun of Ryback. He's been bitching, he's been complaining, and all this crying he's been doing. They should start calling him Cryback. really bad jokes, really corny, dumb shit, and Jericho's really losing his touch. He really needs to hang it up. And I'm really hoping, if anything, they use this to put Ryback over. Whatever. But yeah. So Jericho says, all this crying you're doing, how about I come up there and give you something to cry about? And so he runs up and he tries to attack Ryback. They're in the ring, and they're just kind of punching each other, whatever. Jericho tries to sweep him off his feet and go for the walls of Jericho. He's going for it. Ryback gets out of it and rolls out of the ring. And he's limping, of course, because his leg is supposed to be hurt and whatever. So Ryback gets away. They hype up that the Shield versus the Usos and Christian match is up next. They show another damn Wyatt family video. This time it's actually new. Whatever. They cut to another commercial. They come back, out comes the Shield, followed by Christian, followed by the Usos. And we have us... we start having us a match. Whoa. Holy crap. Right, so anyways, so they start having the match, and it's not necessarily a bad match. Not a whole lot happens. Again, I tried to keep the notes kind of brief. They wind up on the outside of the ring fairly early. I believe it was Roman Reigns and one of the Usos started the match. And again, they're cousins, so I find this hilarious. But they end up on the outside of the ring, and then all 6 of them are down and they're getting ready to fight, because whatever. They cut to commercial, they come back, whatever. Christian's in the ring and he hits a tornado DDT on one of the Shield guys, don't know. Alright, the way the match ended. Trying to remember exactly how this happened. I think what happened was one of the Usos was on the outside with Reigns. And then the other Uso comes out and dives off the ring at him, off the apron, and just clobbers him. And so Rollins sees this, and he hits the ropes and comes running, and he does a big, I think he dives over the ropes and does a big senton, and he wipes out the Usos. And then Ambrose sees this, and he's like, okay, well, I can do this too. He goes to hit the ropes, and as he comes back, Christian spears the bejesus out of him, and gets the win. So that's 2 fucking weeks in a row now, the Shield has been beaten on SmackDown in throwaway matches that mean absolutely nothing. And these guys are supposed to be the unstoppable triad of terror. I just don't get this. You keep having them get beat like this. Are you trying to screw them up and bury them? Because that's about all you're doing. But yeah. The match actually wasn't all that great now that I look at my notes. It really wasn't that great. The Usos drag this down. They suck. Christian's still good. I mean, whatever. But the match wasn't really all that long either. And that's the other thing that kind of pissed me off about this match. Last week, or maybe it was the week before that, when Randy, Bryan, and Kane actually beat the Shield, it was like a 10-minute match. 10, 12 minutes, something like that. And this one, nope, 2-3 minutes, it's over. Not even a whole lot of action or anything. Christian hits the fucking spear on Ambrose. Again, he's still trying to pay homage or whatever to Edge, who, let's be honest, he sucked anyways. So, but right. So they say up next is going to be the Fiesta del Rio. That's going to be up next. They cut to another commercial. They come back. Ricardo's already in the ring. It's all set up. There's balloons wrapped around the posts and all this other stuff. And of course it's the red, white, and green, the Mexican colors. And they've even got a table set up with some chips and some salsa. And there's a mariachi band and they're, there. Again, I guess just trying to be as fucking racist as possible. But anyways, Lillian introduces Ricardo. Ricardo goes to introduce Del Rio, but then he stops and he, again, making fun of the southern crowd, just doing whatever he can to be a heel. It's really bad and it sucks. So, he finally does introduce Del Rio, and Del Rio comes out in his nice suit, whatever. He's got his little scarf around his neck. He's got the belt. And he comes out, and he has the piñata lowered. And we finally get a good look at it, and we notice that it has a picture of Ziggler's face glued to the head of the piñata. It's like a donkey-shaped piñata or whatever. And I guess the stupid joke from Del Rio is that Ziggler is supposed to be a donkey's ass or some shit. But whatever. Del Rio starts talking, and he says, you know what, I've had enough speaking English for you people. So he starts speaking Spanish. And he goes through, God, I don't even know, 2-3 paragraphs worth of speaking in Spanish. And he finally switches back to English. And he says, it's time for the piñata. He breaks out this big friggin' long stick, and of course it's red, white, and green too. And he smacks the piñata a couple of times and smashes it open, and candy falls out. And then he says, apparently they had been planning this stupid fiesta thing for a few days now. And Ziggler got wind of it, and he said that he was going to come out and crash the party. And so Del Rio's like, I've heard this, and so where's Ziggler at? Where's he at? Why hasn't he come out yet? And of course, Ziggler's music hits. He comes out very slowly, very calmly. He looks like he's all business. He's got a suit on, no tie or anything, but he's got a suit, black suit. He's got his pink shirt underneath it because he's a boss like that. He comes out. No mic, nothing. He stands there on the stage for a second. He's looking at Del Rio. He kind of pulls up the sleeve on his jacket. He loosens his nice-looking Rolex-looking watch. He loosens that. He takes it off. He drops it on the stage. He unbuttons the button on his jacket. He takes that off. Leaves it on the stage. And then, like he was shot out of a cannon, he just runs down to the ring, dives in, tackles Del Rio, and starts beating the shit out of him. And of course, Ricardo jumps on Ziggler's back, starts trying to mess with him. They get up. He cracks Ricardo once or twice and then throws him out of the ring. He goes back to Del Rio. Oh, right. He throws Ricardo out of the ring, and then he turns back to Del Rio, and Del Rio kicks him in the stomach or whatever, grabs him, and throws him into the table with the salsa on it, and he kind of wipes that shit out. He ends up with some of it on his arm or whatever. Doesn't break the table or anything, though. But they go back to fighting a bit. Ziggler fights Del Rio off. And then you see Ricardo climbing up on the top rope. And Ziggler turns around and sees it, and he cracks Ricardo, and he grabs him, throws him off the top rope through the damn table. So Ricardo's wiped out for the moment. He turns around, and Del Rio's kind of staggered. Ziggler jumps up and hits the zigzag on Del Rio and wipes him out. He rips his shirt off. And he picks up one of the mariachi guy's guitar. And he goes to hit Del Rio with it, but Del Rio bails out of the ring and runs away. And so Ziggler turns around and sees that Ricardo's getting up. And he just full-on baseball swings this thing and just whacks the fuck out of Ricardo in the face with it. And it didn't even really look like it broke much, but apparently it did. Ricardo eats this fucking shot from the guitar. And so Del Rio's gone. He's backing up the ramp or whatever. And Del Rio picks up the belt, and he jumps up on the second rope, and he's like, "This is mine," and all this stuff, you know? And he's all that shit. Del Rio's gone by now, and Ziggler starts leaving the ring, and he's got the belt and the stupid guitar, which the back of it's been all busted off, so apparently he did break the thing over Ricardo's face. But he starts going up towards the ramp, and the mariachi guys are there. And he's like, "Go ahead and play." They start playing the mariachi tune or whatever. And Ziggler's still got the guitar, and he starts kind of playing it like that. There's no strings on it, but he's just like, and he's doing that. He's got like a sombrero, and I think he puts it on one of the mariachi guys. And whatever the hell. And they look up and balloons start falling from the rafters and everything. And big celebration, which apparently was meant for Del Rio, which is hilarious. But, yeah, so the balloons fall, and of course they're red, white, and green balloons, of course. Whatever the hell, that's the end of the show. So, great ending, seeing Ziggler get to beat the hell out of Del Rio. I mean, the way he came out, he was all business. Deadpan, just stone-faced. He came out, took his watch off, took the jacket off, and then just charged like a beast unleashed. It was ridiculous. But I loved it, though. The matches that we had, that stupid Dublin street fight. Ugh. Just more burying of Sandow, and I don't like it. I don't understand why they're doing this. Just bury the guy. I don't see any point to it. But whatever. Again, having the Shield lose again in a frickin' throwaway match on a SmackDown just because, oh, they have a tag title match with the Usos. Whoop-de shit. The Usos suck, and I really doubt they're gonna win the tag titles. And the Usos haven't hardly done shit since coming to the WWE other than job. But there was that crap, and what other frickin' matches were there? The street fight, and then Randy and Kane. Randy and Kane was decent. The finish, of course, sucked. Yeah, the finish of that match sucked. The stupid Divas match, AJ and Natalya, that one was the worst. It was short as hell. Natalya won on a cheap-ass schoolboy roll-up. It's like, Natalya should be able to beat AJ straight up. She's that good of a wrestler. And, you know, Natalya, I think, tapped out to AJ twice. That Black Widow thing that AJ's been using. So Natalya taps out to it twice, and you think you're going to have Natalya recover by beating AJ with a cheap little schoolgirl roll-up. It ain't happening. So, once again, they screw that up. I don't know what the hell their deal is, but whatever. That was the end of the show. Yeah. Don't really know what else to say. I think that's just going to be it then. I think that's going to be it. Anyways, join us next time for... it'll probably be Monday for Raw. But join us next time for the next episode of the Wrestling Rant. Thank you for joining us. Joining me once again for the show. We will see you next time.